What's good, Adam, GM? First, before I even say hello, tell me what is going on with this Pepe GBT thing you were playing around with yesterday.
So all you people who pay for the premium chat GPT like myself, Daniel Got Hits tweeted out yesterday that, hey, there's a Pepe GPT. You just search it on the little store, you know, and boy, you can add it. I was playing around with it all yesterday, man. Meme time. Because normal, if you don't know, normal chat GPT, when you're like, hey, make a Pepe, whatever, it's like, sorry, due to copyright infringement laws, we can't do this. And so this guy built, you know, you can build these like custom-made GPTs and basically got around. I don't know how he did it, uploaded images or whatever. So Pepe is there. You can play around with Pepe. It's Pepe all day long, man.
You got some dank memes on there?
Not yet, man. I'm still playing around with it. It isn't plug and play like anything. All of these AIs, and they are amazing, but still, it's you still got to play around with it. Nothing is just like one button easy.
Yeah, I agree as well. GMT Chris, man, how you feeling today?
Yo, what's going on? Pepe community is rocking. Checked out the curated collection ETH volume. Almost at 500, just really taking off, getting a ton of attention. So pretty pumped. These weekly spaces are crushing it. Pepe crew, all time.
All time, sir. Jamie, man, good to see you. I haven't seen you since, I think earlier this year, we got to meet at one of the Pepe galleries at NFT NYC, man. How you been?
Good. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was, NYC, I kind of wish I could go back now that everyone's down in Miami. It's got kind of crazy FOMO on some of the in real life events. If no one's been to them, they're definitely worth checking out. Yeah, they're dope.
Well, we've already decided like Vegas is the new place for crypto to be. Jake, I tagged you just to let you know. Miss El Salvador's in Vegas. I connected with her. So I said, hey, you got to hit up my boy Jake, man. Got to let you, show you the town while you're up there. So expect your DM to be flooded with Miss El Salvador.
Dude, let's go. Let's hope she brings some Bitcoins with her too. Some Bitcoins, man. Darky Inc., man. We also, I think, met for the first time at one of the Pepe galleries at NFT NYC, man. How have you been? And appreciate you for allocating some time for us today.
GM. How you doing, guys? Everybody good? Yeah, really well. Just to let you know, I've got about 5 minutes. I've let Jake know before I need to go and do the reverse equivalent of a school run. I've got the girls to take to Girl Guides Rainbows. So I've got that for about 20 minutes. And then I'm going to jump in the studio and then I'm going to get straight back in. And obviously I've got a lot of things I want to talk about. And I'm very keen to talk about Kane's new album that's going to drop as a fake rare as well as all the Pepe stuff that I've got going on with Rob and also with Norman. How's everyone doing? Good?
We are doing good today. So yeah, appreciate you for coming on, man. No worries. We all got a life to live. So while you do that, I'm actually going to read off here some of the top Pepe sales over the last 7 days. So we know that Gordon Goner from Yuga Labs purchased a Nakamoto card for 58 ETH. There's also the equivalent of two $145,000 bids that are currently just sitting there on the Nakamoto card. People are just diamond handing, not even flinching. I thought I would see a few people go and vault a Nakamoto card, then just dump into the bid, but everyone is just hanging tight. I had a few people actually reach out to me that had their legacy cards or vault still, and they're just like, yeah, I'm too lazy. I don't care.
It's funny because I mean, I think those bids are from, we had somebody on the show maybe 2 weeks ago after the Gordon Goner sale. And he was like, man, I'm looking for one, at about that price. And I said, look, the best way to get the most eyeballs is, put the bids out there on OpenSea. Mm-hmm. And there they are, man. They're sitting there. But hey, diamond hands are diamond hands. What are you going to do?
It's funny how it is. Yesterday, last week, there was like 3 or 4 people that are like, yo, I'd love to buy one at 58 ETH. And now we got one like 6-7 ETH higher from that point. It's only going to continue to escalate from here. But Nakamoto card holders, man, most diamond-handed holders out there of any collection I've seen.
It's amazing how sentiment can literally shift in 5 minutes. I mean, we've seen that so many times in the NFT market, and it's suddenly like, oh, wait, 58 ETH? No way, right? While the week before, I was like, God, I hope I could get 58 ETH for it. Now it's like, I don't know. People are looking, it's just market sentiment shifted. It's amazing.
Yeah, I also find with those cards, like some of the guys have been holders for such a long time. It's not like it was a quick thing. They've had them for a while, so they're gonna keep them pretty tight for sure.
That they are. I mean, we even got some absolute insane individuals, the ones that are in the crowd that are just burning Nakamoto cards too. Absolute madman out there. So top sales over the last 7 days. The top sale is China Pepe for 5 ETH. This is China with an I, because we learned there's also one with a Y that we got confused with last time. Pepe Gun Series 1 card 26 sold for 2.5 ETH. We have Trump Rare sold for 1.75 ETH. Dude, these Neuro Pepes, I don't know what the history of this Neuro Pepe is, but this is by far the card that's been selling the most over the last 7 days. I've seen at least 6 or 7 sales. The top sale of those going for 1.25 ETH. Another Trump Rare at 1 ETH. We got Cubis T Pepe at 1.25 ETH. A bunch of shitcoin cards. Pepe Trader at 1 ETH. And Time Pepe at 1.05 ETH. Man, and fake rare cards have been a little bit hidden in the background for now. We've had a few package claims. Those Joe Peace fake rare cards, man, those things sell for continually 2 ETH every single time. That man, people in the community absolutely love that man. So Pepe's are picking back up. I think it's maybe because of just overall Bitcoin interest is absolutely at insane highs. VCs are circling the wagon. We got allocators coming into ordinals, people pumping meme coins. I think it just flows all the way back down now. Adam, what do you think? You think already profits flow to all protocols on Bitcoin, or does it stay within ordinal?
Like the thing that's happening is Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is flying, and ETF news, and even though it's fake news, right? You saw the $500 million or $500 billion from the whatever Qatar Sovereign Wealth Fund or whatever, which turned out to be not true. But it doesn't matter, right? It literally doesn't matter what's true and not true. It's just like what is interesting and what catches people's eyes. And we got a lot of eyeballs. Obviously, the Luke Jr. and Max Kaiser tweeting about ordinal spam has only brought more attention. And then the others, then the stamps are like, well, we're here too, and we can't be pruned. And it's just a lot of excitement, obviously. And it's all driven by Bitcoin price, right? If Bitcoin price went to 60,000 tomorrow, like, Lord help us, because retail would begin moving back in. This is all, I feel like this is money that's already here. It's just being activated with when price goes up, right? Everybody feels richer. My bags are bigger, your bags are bigger, everybody's bags are bigger. So what happens when you get rich? You start spending money, right? And it trickles down to meme coins. And I don't know, you know that better than I, what the direction is. It's like meme coin to NFT to, I don't even know what, Tezos or something like that. And then, and then back to Bitcoin, and it cycles back and forth depending on, market sentiment, which we know changes in an instant. So I don't know. You would know better than I. I just am here for the ride and enjoying it.
Yeah, the counterparty wave. Well, for those that missed the show yesterday, J-Dog, who's been the maintainer, I don't know if J-Dog's still in here or not. I saw him pop in for a second, announced that he's going to be stepping down as the sole arbiter of counterparty. And there's going to be 3 additional co-signers on the counterparty contract, including the Emblem Vault founder, our founder, Shannon Code, the creator of Rare Pepe Wallet, Joe Looney, and JP Jansen, who's just a Gigabrain early mover. So those 3 will be moving into leading counterparty, or at least just having a little bit more authority. As J-Dog said, it'll hope with the intention to further decentralize counterparty for additional improvements and just get a little bit of some additional perspective on there. So from what I've been reading, I think Joe, it sounds like, wants to take kind of the lead of the 3 people. And I don't think that could be any less bullish for the Pepe community if you've got Joe there kind of leading the charge. Brilliant guy, to say the least. So without further ado, in the news, we invited 3 guests on stage today. We have featured guests. If anybody else wants to come on stage and join the conversation, please do. For all these Pepe shows, we try to reach out to OGs in the space, collectors, artists, just anybody who's contributing to the Pepe space. Everyone deserves to have their story told at some point in time. Also, I know some of the sentiment has said, we're tired of hearing the same 10, 15 people featured on all the Pepe shows, and we totally agree. And so we're trying to reach out. The thing is, sometimes, man, Pepe community is very tough to get a hold of at times.
They're not always doing spaces. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So I'm excited to have some of our featured guests up here today. Mr. Jamie from RobotCoffeeLove. If you've ever watched a counterparty tutorial, you've probably watched this man's videos. That's how I got into counterparty, man. For first question, just to simplify it, man, just tell us a little bit about yourself and RobotCoffeeLove and how you found the guidance of the rare frogs on counterparty.
Yeah, so I think in a lot of ways it's similar to some other people. So I've been in technology for a long time, probably a lot older than most of the people in this space. And I came into NFTs originally for the technology. I wasn't even fully aware of the whole JPEG side of it. And the timing that I came in was right around the PFP pump. So I initially came in for the tech, and then on ETH started getting into some of the PFPs. The technology that I work in primarily is business-based C# Microsoft stuff. So it didn't really help me at all as far as wanting to try and build on ETH. So I started looking to try and, when I came to the space, it sounds kind of like bullshit, but it's kind of, I did want to come for the community. I love the notion of having artists being able to sell their work, and that idea of having ownership of what they do and being able to build. And I wanted to try and understand the technology and potentially help artists, but is a pretty long path just to try and ramp up on all the dev stack. I missed VVD's when he started talking about rare Pepes. I had a quick look, but I was like, oh, I'll stay in the ETH for a little bit. And then came in a little late to the XCP community, but because it's based on such an old stack, I was actually able to build off of it. So when I came into the space, the first thing that I saw was that it could be perfect for a lot of the artists to be able to use, because they would be able to issue and have full control and just use web-based tools. There just was a lot of steps. It wasn't technically hard. It was just easy to screw up because there were so many steps. And that's when I was like, okay, I think I can help just do a bunch of tutorials on this and walk people through those steps, because it's pretty daunting. And initially, right off the start, I ended up getting kind of validation that this was helping. And it was, to me, one of the best things that I loved about being able to actually onboard some of the people, and for them to be able to say, you know what, this is meaningfully impacting my life. Even for some of those small sales, you'll see that with a bunch of the artists. The other thing that I found that some people may not know is that the XCP, it's a very cool space, but what's so unique is that it's artists that collect as well and are in the space. And it's not like on ETH side where it's all project based, like on Fake Rares when I went down that path. When they do a series, it's the top most famous artist and someone who's might have their first Fake Rare. They're all at the same level. They're all in the same drop. It's, you know, artists supporting artists. So once I moved over to XCP, I was like, okay, I actually found an awesome community, and just dove in from there. So that's kind of the genesis of how I came into the space. And if it wasn't for XCP, I probably would have left the space when ETH was getting super toxic.
Ooh, that's a heavy statement right there. Absolutely love it. So here on the live stream, I was kind of browsing through some of your products, the Robot Love Coffee website, and you also have something on here, which is an XCP leaderboard. Could you take us through what exactly this is? There's a few badges on here. What is this creation?
Yeah, so because I'm a dev, so the one thing that, and this is going to sound kind of weird, but I appreciate art. I can see art that I love, but I have no artistic real ability. So I found when I would look at some artists and what they would do and how they would create it, it almost seems like magic to me. Like I can't even understand how they get from the idea and then the execution and building it out. Started talking to artists, and it's like, oh, well, I can't really do any of that. I can't create memes. And the first, this is right back in the day. I don't know whether people remember, but when Dark Farms started dropping his daily cards, and there was kind of XCP gas wars because he did like 99 days in a row or something where he's dropping a new card every single day and you didn't know the time. And this is when Pepe WTF came out with their leaderboard, and it was basically based on rare Pepes and fake rares. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to be on the top of those leaderboards. So then I was like, well, fuck, I'm going to build my own leaderboard for Dark Farms because I know I'll be at the top or near the top of that. And that's what started the darkfarms.wtf. And it basically was just listing all his cards and doing leaderboards of that. I then expanded that out to just be rlc.wtf. And in that case, I just curated a bunch of XCP artists, and it gave them the ability to have a place to showcase all of their cards, whether it was fake rares or rare Pepes or just ones they've minted, and then also be able to do leaderboards. And if the artist wanted to, they could do badges, which would highlight specific cards or sets of cards that they had. So for Dark Farms, there's like he did a kiosk. There was a kiosk card that you could get, or having a Mr. Ribbit. So it was kind of my take of doing a meme in a way of a site of a Pepe WTF originally.
Adam, I know you're a big Dark Farms fan too.
Dude, who isn't?
It's true. He never misses, and he just generates so much of it. And this is the part that I think people on XCP, there's so much art that's put out there. And back in the day, it didn't have to be like, you know, a crazy high fee. It's a cool space if you are an artist and wanted to be able to come in and I mean, now obviously with BTC being expensive, but it's a great playground. And you saw that with VVD and Series 8 when a bunch of ETH artists would come over, and it gave them a chance to explore a different version of their art if they wanted, and also be able to play around with Pepe. So yeah, I'm definitely an XCP BTC maxi for artists.
Yeah, I love that. One of the fun components about the Pepe community is how Dark Farms, Viva La Vandal, and a few other individuals have taken Pepe and they kind of create their own variation of it. It's their own character, like Small. I forget what Viva's is. There's a handful of other individuals who do that. And the fact that, you know, they can build a career and a brand around this, you know, Pepe derivative or Pepe-like kind of frog is, you know, it's exciting. It gives, you know, countless amounts of opportunity for individuals to come in and really build, you know, on their artistic kind of skills.
Totally. You see it with, sorry, go ahead, man.
Oh no, I was just gonna say you saw it with Kiro. He created Coco, which is basically his, like, he wanted to create a new interpretation of a buddy for Pepe, and that just gives you and it created a community around it. So yeah, it is funny. I do agree with that idea that, you know, Pepe is, it sounds out there, but Pepe is love, and Pepe has the ability to kind of be whatever you want it to be. And people just run with it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super cool how, I mean, for Dark Farms to be able to create, I don't even know where I call it a vibe, but whatever it is, whenever you see one of his, you know it's his, right? It's like, it's just, that's like just an incredible, it's so difficult to do. I mean, anybody who's tried to draw anything knows how difficult it is to create something that's uniquely yours. And, you know, that's why I think he gets so much love. Plus just the vibes are amazing in his stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree as well. So Jamie, what, since you've joined the Pepe community and, you know, you built out, I don't know, this has to be 15 to 18 different tutorial videos. And I know as well, somebody who's done a ton of Emblem videos, that stuff is not easy to do. It can be quite frustrating at times. What are you currently working on, and what's kept you in the Pepe community since joining it and finding that this is the place that you want to hang out in this weird kind of crypto ecosystem?
Yeah, so obviously I jumped on ordinals early when it came out, so I was spending a bunch of time ramping up in that space, and that took me off of building out some of the other XCP based tools. Like some of the other things I wanted to add to RLC was the ability to allow artists to easily grab their top whatever X number of leaderboards and then export that out into a multi-send, just to try and build some simple tools to help artists to be able to distribute airdrops. I did look at some of the stamp stuff that came out, created simple sites to help people to be able to generate the stamp stuff. I know that there's been some other devs that have really taken the lead now in building out other tools, which is awesome in the space. So I think the space is going to get better. So right now I've been looking more at the Rust programming to be able to do more development on BTC and ordinals, because I think that at the very least is going to be interesting. So that should be kind of cool. And looking at BTC pay server for in real life point of sale systems. If you haven't heard about it before, it's basically similar to like a.
Oh, did we lose him?
I think we
Stand up and accept.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, am I there?
Yeah, you're there. Yeah, you cut out for. Can you
repeat that again? I missed that. What exactly is it?
Yeah, so BTC Pay server. So it's basically like a open source Shopify of sorts, which would allow you to easily have a digitally native BT crypto storefront. And I want to build that out more, just because I actually think that could be something that could help digitally native artists moving forward.
Can I accept BRC 20s at at my web store, I'd happily do that for some soaps. I
Yeah,
could sell some of my wife's soaps and accept BRC20s. How awesome would that be?
yeah, maybe. But this is what I think. Like, I genuinely think that for people that are going to be digitally native, trying to look and build and support in that space is important. And that's what's kind of kept me here, is that, to be honest, like, yes, there's a lot of toxic people and scams and stuff, but there's enough genuinely good people in the community that I've hooked up with that it's going to keep me here regardless of pump. Like during the bear with nothing, I'm still like happy to be here and try and work and support. Now that we're hitting a bull, it's going to be crazy again, but we'll see.
Yeah, the Pepe community does a really good job at kind of vetting outsiders and identifying scammers quite early. I also think it's somewhat intimidating going into the original Rare Pepe chat and just seeing thousands of people in there and having Skrilla and everybody else really just riff on you, and it's pretty easy to identify. So one of the better self-policing communities across the space. Jamie, do you have a question about Rust development though? You know, Bitcoin and Solana are both built in Rust. From what the developers that I've talked with, Rust is actually quite difficult to develop in. I'm just satisfying kind of my curiosity. What are your thoughts about the language and maybe some strengths or weaknesses of it?
I haven't dove in a ton, but I've gone through. So to me, it's like it's hard to say. Any language can be challenging until you use it enough. And once you start using it, I don't think it necessarily has to be that, I don't know how to say, difficult. I just think it's a matter of what the tooling is around it. So it's not going to be the easiest language for sure, but it really, I think, depends where you're coming from and where you started to build out. It is meant to be, for lack of a better word, relatively a safe language. And in the ordinal case, they're doing a bunch of stuff about making sure that all the tests pass. So they're trying to make that code base decent and reliable as far as from a testable point of view and not breaking stuff. But yeah, it'll be interesting to go down, because for me, I was always on a Microsoft Windows stack, so I've done a lot of C# development, which is great. But when you look at open source and crypto, there's nothing. So it's I kind of came and said, oh, this space is really cool. There's shit. So anyways, but yeah, so I think it really depends where you came from. I don't think it's something you're just going to pick up if you were just doing something basic. It's going to take you a while to ramp up for sure, but I think it's worthwhile to do that.
Yeah, Rust development is going to be in high demand, I think, in 2024 as more people go and want to build their own protocols kind of on Bitcoin. So it should be interesting. We do have another person on stage. We are waiting for Darky. We'll come on in a little bit, 10 minutes. I do want to ask Sasha, I want to say hello, who's also a Pepe artist. And I'll present the same question to you as well. What brought you into this weird land of creating rare frogs?
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm at the gym right now. Maybe it's loud a little bit. Yeah. So I came from ETH to XCP, Bitcoin, and Ordinals. And I want to say shout out to Jamie, because I remember when I made my first XCP card, I watched these tutorials and tried to understand every tech part, because as an artist, for me, it's hard. I have more creative brain than tech.
Yeah. Jamie's the man. I also literally watched all like 18 of those videos when I first got into Counter. Like, what is this AOL? What is this AOL system that they want me to use?
Yeah, but for me, it was super clear, and I understand everything, and made this stuff for one night. Yeah, thanks for these tutorials.
Awesome. So I know you're at the gym. I'll present one last question, then we'll go back to Jamie. I do have your fake rare here pulled up, which is pretty cool. It looks like a Pepe maze with some golden Bitcoin signs in the back. Tell us a little bit about what the meaning of your art piece.
I I thought about idea for this character, and I decided to make it like super clear, because usually I like playing with the vintage textures and noises, grainy textures, half tones. But this card, it's I wanna make some assets and make like a book of Pepe who traveling in this maze. And right now I have few arts done, and soon I start making, like, showing my sub assets, and it will be art in different style, more like surrealistic, I think so. So it's like a first card. It's a main picture of this maze with Pepe, and then we start traveling in this maze together, like magic world of Pepe maze.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you coming on stage. I'll let you get back to your workout, so don't pester you too much. I hear some techno in the background, so.
Thanks for having me. And have a good Wednesday, everyone.
Yeah, feel free to hang out on stage. And Darky, whenever you're free to just ping me so you could come up on stage. For those that aren't aware how Counterparty works, she mentioned sub assets. So they'd be kind of similar to parent-child inscriptions on ordinals, kind of, or subdomains of ENS. If when you issue a token on Counterparty, you are the sole owner of it. You have the equivalent of the private keys over it. So you can issue more tokens if it isn't locked, or you could issue things called sub assets. So if my Counterparty token was named Jake Pepe, I could issue additional sub assets that would be Jake.JakePepe or 1.JakePepe, etc. And a lot of Pepe artists use this as a way to introduce more items to their ecosystem or airdrop them to current holders. And so it gets a little experimental. It's pretty much a little bit underutilized in its aspects. I think one day we'll probably see sub assets make its way, but there's still, I think, only about 200,000 or 300,000 Counterparty assets that have been minted. So it's still pretty small comparative to what you see with ENS subdomains and everything of that nature.
Another way to think of sub assets, or it's exactly what you said, but kind of like subdomains. So it's kind of like you own the primary domain, and then based on that, you can create anything that you want under it. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of cool. I always thought when I first came to the space that people would create, they would create the one parent and then have sub assets for all of their other work, and then that way you'd have a link tied back to it. But it's not the way that you described it is how majority of people use it for. It's either a derivative of the main one, or it's used as a version of doing airdrops.
Yeah. Do you think that's just from an artist perspective, like collectors have just found it to be not as interesting or not as valuable? Is that why you think it hasn't been used so much? I mean, we've seen a little bit of similar sort of thing with, ENS has tried to do kind of subdomains for ENS somewhat, I would say, unsuccessfully as well. Obviously this is different, but what's your gut, or what have you heard from artists in relation to that?
I think the reality is that the token is what's the most important. So you don't, it's almost like the sub asset's considered a second tier asset in some ways. So it's almost always going to be a derivative. So I think because it started being the token is the art, and the token is the main kind of the main one. I don't think there's really been a path of saying, yeah, we're gonna go down this other path. It also gives you a bit more, not that this would happen, but when you issue the token, you're the owner, but you can transfer the ownership of that. Whereas if you had everything tied to a sub asset, I don't know whether you can transfer the ownership of a sub asset or not. So I think in some ways it just keeps it cleaner. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. The sub assets, even though you can have anything that you want, and this is getting somewhat technical as far as you can have a longer text name for the sub asset. It actually, at the code level, is a numeric asset. So the actual asset is an A and a bunch of numbers. The DB model just associates a text string. So in some ways, it isn't the same as a parent token, and that's probably another reason why people just go with a base single token.
Sweet. Yeah, it is. Sub assets are cool. They cause a pain on the Emblem side sometimes. But the fun part with Pepe is that Rare Pepe really is its own derivative, because it's a derivative of IRL things, right? You have like the Hillary Clinton Pepe based off of people, based off of items, based off of everything. So it's just derivatives all the way down the board. We do have Darky back on stage. Excited to talk with you, bro. I was looking through your profile and I'll have it pulled up here on the live stream here in a second. 63 unique cards created on or that is shown through Pepe.wtf. So pretty much everything across the board outside of Rare Pepe, man. Tell us a little bit about your venture into Rare Frogland and what's kept you here to create multiple dozens of cards.
Yeah, thanks for your patience, guys. Can everybody hear okay as well?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I've obviously you can tell by Pepe.wtf. Straight off the bat there, I just want to say thank you to all the team, Pepe.wtf, especially Al for giving us that platform as Pepe artists. Any time I'm ever showing somebody what I do in Pepe world, it's fakerares.com, and then obviously straight into Pepe.wtf. It just makes us look so good as Pepe artists. And obviously everything's there in one place for the directories. You can tell them there as well. I've actually been going for like what we call bank status. I'm trying to get across the board, and I'm still trying to get the stamp gem as well on there as well. So I'll be getting into Waterwin very shortly to try and get that stamp on there as well. But my journey started back in November 28 at CoinFest. I was asked to exhibit there. I actually forced my way in to Adam, who ran CoinFest, and asked if I could exhibit my Pink Panther 5i there, my debut NFT campaign. And they let me do that. And that's where I actually got to meet the Rare Pepe crew. So the UK guys were Indel, Hansel, Easy B, Nathan Sonic, LC Dizzle there, Disgruntled Badger. And up until that point, my knowledge of Rare Peppers were quite minimal, other than what you actually saw on the internet via Facebook, Google, just general banter on the internet. And after the exhibition, it was Indel himself. Yeah, I remember I was sat there and I was sat facing Hansel's piece, Cobra, and they all surrounded me and said, Darky, would you like to come and join us and do a Rare Pepe? Now, quite a lot of you guys have experienced that situation, and it's quite an overwhelming experience. So you just sat there and like yeah. And then the moment comes in, it pretty much immediately for me is like, what the hell am I going to do? And I was just sat there staring at Kekogs going, Kekogs. And I was always massive on the 80s films, you know, the Rambos, the Commandos. I come from that era, so it was literally like Stallone, it was Schwarzenegger, and obviously Bruce Lee. Chuck Norris, I'm a little bit too young for Chuck Norris. He was kind of like not as cool as the others. And I was just sat there looking at Kekogs, and it just literally came to me that way. It went Kekogs, Cobra, and literally that's how Cobra were born that quick. And I think I actually then went home that evening from Manchester, and I think within 2 days I'd passed it on to Indel himself, and that was like pretty much my intro into fake rares. Now, a lot of people find this quite surprising. My intro was only in 2021, so in 2 years, that's what I've dropped. So I've dropped 63. There's actually more that have not yet been released, and there's a couple of secret projects that we can't speak about as well, Jake.
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah, I'm just saying, no, the two secrets. I'm involved in some of the projects as well.
No, tell us about them.
You got some alpha, Darky.
You almost got him, Jake. You almost got him. Go ahead. Tell us about it.
Brilliant.
All right,
Yeah,
Darky, let me ask you this. So,
Cool.
for those that are just listening here on the live stream, there's 7 different collections you've submitted to: fake rares, fake commons, dink rares, and then notable Pepes and potentially notable Pepes that are on Ethereum. That's Vincent Van Doe's
Wojak.
Pepe collection, and then Wojak Way and Rare Coco that were recently added to
So cool.
Pepe.WTF. Does your artistic style change depending on if you're minting rare Pepes on Bitcoin versus ETH or some of these other or the other meme collections like Wojak Way or Rare Coco, or do you try to apply the same artistic style across the board?
You can probably tell that I go for something different every time. No, but this is what I love about our space and our community. Obviously, I'm by trade, I'm a tattoo artist. So for the last like 13 years, I've drawn I've got several styles that I work with. So I've got like traditional, we have neo-traditional, I do Americano tattoos, and I also do Japanese. And I tend to keep in them styles because that's what I'm stylized in. So for the last like 10 years, I've been drawing in a very specific stylized way. So when I came into Rare Pepes, it's literally like my work is very controlled, and I always use this terminology, and it's very disciplined. Even though it's flowing, it's very disciplined in the process that we must follow because we're working on people and skin. When I finish on night time, I always feel like Bruce Wayne. By daytime, I'm Bruce Wayne. Night time, I lose the Bruce Wayne. I turn into Batman. That's like the crypto world. And it's literally like you can do whatever you want. It's just like an open ocean of fun and creative freedom. And at the end of it, you can either keep it or you can just delete it. And that for me is like something so new, such a new experience over the last 2 years. And that's where I've literally just gone, you know what? With all the inspiration around me, I'll give you an example. Love Bean in New York. We was at Frogs Over Theatre in April. And I'd never, up until a meeting, Love Bean paid any attention as an artist to things like installations. And I was absolutely blown away by the items we visited in the installation, the story behind each piece, how the installation grew. And Love Bean himself was actually the inspiration for my last notable Pepes, the notable profession, because up until meeting Love Bean and Frogs Over Theatre, I'd never even dreamed of doing something like an art installation, taking a photograph of it, and then submitting that to a directory. So these directories have really allowed me to grow as an artist and try fields and different mediums that I'd never consider in my normal day-to-day job. And I think it's pretty much the same for every artist in the space as well.
And why do you think that is? Is it because it's not a steady type of income, or that you find, creating art and specifically like meme art more of just like a fulfilling type endeavor?
For me, it's the creative freedom. It's being able to actually grow as an artist and try new things. So when I look through my directories, I can say pretty much categorically that if I'd never come into this space, I'd have never drawn some of these items on there. Like look at Orangeception, that's based on Pepinception by Indel. When we came into the space 2 years ago and actually saw Pepinception, I think like most people, I must have stared at that for 20 minutes, just mesmerised, going, how the hell have you made that? How can you even do that? I was just like, I don't know if it's from years of a misspent youth, but I was just like hypnotised for a good 20 minutes. I've then 2 years in the space working with Indel, understanding things like JavaScript and obviously blockchain. I then learned how to actually fake that card. And for me, it was like actually it's like the coming of age, making your lightsaber, where you've actually faked a rare Pepe and it's been submitted and it's been accepted into the directory. I just felt like the apprentice has become the master. It was so good. It's just, and that's the thing, it's fun. I mean, the key thing for me though as an artist, I work isolated. I work in a very small village, and as a tattoo artist, it's quite an isolated job. It's you and the client. It's very disciplined. And what we've got here is just a massive, massive community of people, everyone having fun, and we all bring something different to the table. Such a unique space and a unique time for artists as well, I feel. Very new, very different.
1,000,000%, man. I mean, it's like I just have met so many artists, digital artists, especially who, could never make money doing their art. I mean, they made money working for people, making logos and stuff like that, right? But to actually make money doing their art, doing what they love is that's transformative in crypto. I mean, dozens of stories over the last 2 years, and to be able to play around in the space and have a very safe space, honestly, with in the Pepe community, I imagine it's amazing for artists.
Oh, it's totally cool, and also it's that support network as well. And you know, it's like if you just look at the people in the space, as an artist that comes from Yorkshire, I'd have never ever had the opportunity to meet people like Vandal, Skrilla, Pepinado, Hansel, Easy B. I could go on and on and on, reeling off all these names, and all the new guys as well. Don Filthy Tricks, Purple Drank, Mighty Shroom, Dr. Artist, Dr. Zeus, Jules. I could go on and on and on. And this space has enabled people like myself, other new artists as well, to grow really quickly into a really cool space and just have lots of fun and just get to meet people like yourself, Jake. I think, what was it, NYC NFT this year that we met?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, at the Pepe Gallery. It's funny when you go to NFT NYC and you go to the Fakers Gallery, which is also right next to the Rare Pepe Gallery, and everyone's kind of just sitting there shooting the shit, and then you realize who the actual artist is, and you're like, oh my god, I own your cards, or I've seen your art all over Pepe.WTF. It's really kind of reinvigorating to show that not everyone is just an anon. And it's actually most of the Pepe community, they have, your artistic kind of, your persona, but most Pepe community that generally try to not be anon and very open kind of about your personality, stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. On that, it's like when I came into the space initially, I thought that you had to be quite anonymous and things like that. And I think I doxed myself within about 28 seconds in the space. Like, hey, everybody, look at me. I'm in fake rares. So obviously the tax man were just like, hi, Mark, you okay? Oh, that's my yeah, but so obviously we were dropping first names in New York. So I just decided to go like absolutely transparent. The chance of me doing a rook pull is probably like 0.00%. Hansel's been to my studio. LC Dizzle, quite a few of the artists. Adam's been. I'm probably the most transparent artist within crypto.
So tell me what's the story behind the name Darky Inc? Where does that come from? Is that something that you created as you became a Pepe artist, or something from the past that you pulled into Frogland with you?
Right, I'll just tell you straight. My first name, my real name is Mark, M-A-R-K. And as a kid, I was always called Marky Mark by my grandma. Yeah, no, don't laugh. It gets even worse. It gets even worse. Now, obviously, Jake, you've seen me, you've seen the size of me and everything. As a child, I was a grandma's boy. I grew up with my grandma, but with the equivalent of the English Bronx. It was such a rough area. I then obviously was like, oh, look at Mark, grandma's boy. So it was pretty tough. I then so as I grew older, I started doing boxing, just basic to look after myself, and I won't get picked on. Then that progressed very quickly into Thai boxing. Fast forward a few years, and I got pretty good. And so what it'd be, I was always such a quiet child. And then what had happened, it was like a cycle. I'd be quiet, somebody would pick on me, and then I'd look after myself. And then one day, someone just went, Mark, you're a bit of a dark horse shoe. And then obviously Mark went to Darky. And coming from a really rough council estate living with my grandma, I really latched onto that nickname. It kind of like give me a bit of street cred and made me feel not like Mark who's grabbing his grandma's apron strings. It made me feel a bit more street. And then growing up from a young teenager all the way through my 20s, it's just stuck with me. And then when I became a tattoo artist, I thought what I'm going to do is use my nickname and change it into my company. So this company became Dark Inc. And Inc spelled I-N-C, and that's because it's incorporated. So I do graphic design, illustration, tattoo studios, and now meme artist. So it's not just Inc as in INK, it's as in an incorporation of everything under the umbrella, Dark.
Oh, very fair, cool. Fair enough.
There you go.
Where do
I'm just gonna call you Darky Dark from now on, man.
I love it. Yeah. Brilliant. Cheers, guys.
Where do you draw inspiration for your artistic style? As you mentioned, there's a kind of a few variations of it that you stick to. Is that something from childhood where most people kind of begin to build their artistic expression, or is this something that you've kind of grown into?
Yeah, it's something I've grown into. It's more my trade. I started out like we all probably did, like drawing out comics, copying comics, I was an absolute like a Xerox machine as a child, just literally copying everything I could, drawing in the back of maths books, English books. I always remember getting told off for drawing on school books. And then I did graphic design at college, did illustration. And then the crazy thing, I went and got a proper job for a fair few years. You know, when you leave uni, you need money because you've just accumulated a massive debt as a student. And I nearly stopped drawing, and I had a proper job. And then I saw the sense and started drawing again. And then I really pushed to become a tattoo artist, pushed all the studios. And anybody that knows me, I'm quite persistent if I need to be. And I just literally badgered them so much that one of them just went, you know what, we'll just give you a job. And they gave me a job, and that's it. Did the apprenticeship for a couple of years, qualified, and that's been it really. And then I always wanted to do illustration as well as the tattooing, but until basically COVID and lockdown, there wasn't the platform, especially where I live, to sell artwork. You couldn't sell prints for like £10, £15 to people. They're just not interested. Whereas once blockchain technology came around and crypto, everything's just changed, especially for people in this environment, in this area around here. It's just basically opened up the world to us.
Yeah, I think that's super transformative, just the way that's happened. You know,
fast as well, really fast.
Incredible. Yep. Really fast, and enabling people to sell to a global audience, meet like-minded people, not have a barrier for entry. You know, it's not where you went to school. It's not where, you know, who your contacts are. It's like, here it is, man. We're all online. It's on the internet. And to be able to sell trustlessly to a global audience, I think is obviously, this is why the NFTs boomed in 21. This is it's transformative. It's amazing.
That it is. I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna ask all the artists on stage, you know, some of the similar questions. I'll start with Jamie. What do you have a favorite Pepe collection, whether fake rares, rare Pepe, fake commons, etc., or a specific Pepe artist or card that has any type of meaning to you?
That's kind of like asking who your favorite child is. It's tough.
Come on, everyone has one.
Yeah, so I think for me it would have been Dark Farms, because when I found the art, it was just so on point. And the Mr. Ribbit is the specific card that that was his. I don't know if it was his first fake rare. It was his first solo fake rare. It was hard to acquire. It's like a 22 issuance, but yeah. So I'd have to say Dark Farms. I've been a Dark Farm maxi for a very long time. I think I was really early in getting that. I've been able to build out some stuff with him. Rare Lands was a little collection that we started, which is a small curation, and he's been able to. He's gifted me a 1-on-1 and stuff. So yeah, I'd say that would be be my main maxi one. But I've also been blown away by all the other fake rare artists. I'm obviously part of the V6 collective, doing a bunch of stuff on the ordinals, and all of the artists there are amazing. When you look at like Nardo, Skrilla, Carsonated, and JB in them, they're similar to what Darky was saying, is that there's just so much, so many talented people. It's hard to, like, you don't want to start naming names because you want to just keep naming all of them. But yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Dark Farms, just because that was the first one that really resonated.
And that's an understatement. This man built the Dark Farms leaderboard and has a whole website dedicated to it. So quite funny.
Kind of obvious, right?
Yeah. Could you explain to us what the V6 collective is? I know it's something that you mentioned Skrilla and a bunch of, you know, yourself are involved in, but it's something that's not really kind of spoken about too much yet, although I know it's kind of in progress. But just give us the 411 on it.
Yeah, so the quick version of that is that when Ordinals first came out and we were talking about it, we actually were like, I'd say, just say it, but I think we're the first collective or group of artists that wanted to build on Ordinals. So what we started doing right at the very beginning, like bringing up nodes and trying to mint stuff, was as a collection of artists, and obviously I'm more just from a dev point of view, try and build out individual projects on ordinals. And at that point, basically, there were like 3 or 4 projects that we've minted, and then as ordinals is building out more, just figure out how we would possibly get into some of the recursions and do other projects. So it's kind of trying to be more a collaborative approach to be able to build art on Bitcoin. And this is like my little soapbox thing, but if you were to say, like, my analogy is that Bitcoin is the best museum in the world. So if you wanted to put your art in a museum, if you wanted to put it at the Louvre, you'd want to have it on Bitcoin. And ordinals from a one-on-one point of view would be like ideally the best place. You have size limitations, and now there's a huge cost limitation. So you might be, okay, well, maybe in that case, or I want to do a collection, I'm going to put it to XCP, and there it's still on Bitcoin, but you can reduce the cost and you don't have the same file sizes. So the V6 Collective really is trying to, the latest post that you saw was like Follow the Orange Rabbit, is really trying to be a collective of artists specifically on Bitcoin.
Very, very, very fascinating. I'm excited to see how that grows. Darky, what's up? Darky there?
Yeah, hi there.
Hi.
Quickly, I just want to mention one thing before I have to go and do the Rainbows run again. And it'd kill me if I didn't, because I've been absolutely plaguing him to do it all day. Is Kane Mansfield has got his new Rares release on the 12th of this month, but it's a little bit special. It's not just a Rares release, and I'm very lucky to get a preview last night of his new album Dusk that's coming out. And on the 12th, what he's got, it's so unique. Let me get the terminology right on this. So it's rare. He's bringing out a fake rare, and the rare itself is actually Emblem vaulted. You'll know about this, Jake. So it's on Ethereum, but it's actually obviously Bitcoin. And the album itself is around 12 tracks. I've managed to listen to the 12 tracks already. Absolutely flawless, and they're all linked in with Bitcoin art, and it's actually linked into the technology itself. Kane will tell you more on that, but I really just wanted to mention that it's coming out on the 12th. Check out his page to see the actual card and the actual music. It's pretty cool. Have you seen it yourself, Jake, as well, since it's been Emblem vaulted? Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet, but we did have early discussions with him about his idea. He was talking about first just how to do that on Counterparty, and then how it would interact with the vault. So I haven't seen it yet, but I'm glad to see that he actually went through with it, because he seemed pretty excited, but there was a few technical hurdles that he had to overcome to make it happen.
I just pinned it up top in the what do they call it? The nest up top, so you guys can check it out.
I can speak to that a little bit. Kane reached out to me when he was going to look to drop it. He gave me a preview of it. I used it for some of my workouts, and it's a really dope album. His art in general, if you look on RLC WTF, you can see a Kane Mayfield is listed there, and you'll be able to see all of his stuff is music based on chain, which is just amazing. But yeah, the 12th it's going to be launched. It's 12 songs. I think he's actually pressing some vinyl for it. I don't know what the distribution of that'll be, but it should be pretty dope. So it will be an XCP token, and then depending on how he'll do the distribution, I'm not sure if he'll have more time on that. But yeah, it's definitely dope. It's going to be awesome.
So, yeah, definitely. Jamie, have you got a favourite song yet? I personally like the Jeffrey. I Can't Stop Laughing. You know, the Jeffrey song. Have you heard that one?
I have. I've listened to them all. The only problem is I was doing it during my workout, so I don't know which one is which. But yeah, I find it's just really cool in the space, because it's dope music, but then it ties into stuff that is almost like an inside joke in some ways.
Speaking of the Devil Kane, man, everyone on stage was showing some appreciation for your new album drop. Do you want to give us a little bit of information on what it is?
I just want you to know that I paid these people a lot of money to talk about.
My work is done.
It's not a lot, but it's like enough to lease a Honda Accord. They're reliable and a good way to be. I haven't. It's not Bentley money yet, but yeah, it's good. It's very good. Darky, checks in the mail, sir. Checks in the mail.
Thank you.
No, I'm really happy to be able to do something that I think is I'm watching my baby right now, so if you hear him in the background, it's fine. So yeah, I wanted to make something that was kind of good. I don't think I've done anything so far that's been noteworthy. I've done a couple of cool cards and I've had some okay art, but I wanted to do something that was like my watershed moment on Counterparty. So I made an album that's kind of like how Skrilla does with the audio mimetics, and I laced that kind of through there, and it's infused with the sound of the Bitcoin blockchain. So Bitcoin Audio has been doing that way before I ever knew what any of this stuff was. He'd already been doing that and pressing vinyl and being awesome and a genius. And I actually learned about him when Skrilla was onboarding me. I was at his house, and I'm like, well, we were doing Money Badger for Async, and the Bitcoin sound is in that. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He pulls out this record. He goes, this guy, did that. He takes Bitcoin and converts it into a sound and puts it in the music. And for some reason, I guess because, you're new and everything hits you at once. And, the picture of Satoshi that isn't really him, but the old Japanese man, I thought that he was an old Japanese man. So I thought Bitcoin Audio was an old, dead Japanese man who had done this a long time ago. I still didn't understand how old Bitcoin was. I was very, very new. So I thought he was this long dead in like the 70s Japanese man. And this rare Bitcoin Audio had lasted all this time. And he's like a black guy in Jersey, which was really fun because I got to talk to him. And I was like, Mr. Audio, do you have a moment to talk? And he's like, yeah, sure. So we talked, and he showed me how the flux capacitor capacitates, and I understood very little of it. But I wanted to put a whole album of it because it didn't seem like anybody was, no one was making a big a deal over it as I was, and I didn't understand why. So I was like, well, what if someone did that for a whole album? He's like, that'd be great. So from the summer of the spring of 21, I wanted to do it. And then it was just a matter of getting it done properly. And so this is a fake rare. The video, obviously, no one's seen because those are the rules, but I've shared the album with a few people. The player will be embedded in the token. You may have to hit the little red, it's okay, I'm not going to break your computer button. But once you hit that, you'll have an entire 10 songs with the audio mimetics of like, during the intro, the guy's like, we converted from the gold standard to paper gold. And you hear the brrr, you hear the money printer go burr. Like, I've tested this record on my normie friends. And those little parts that stand out to us mean nothing to them. But they hear it, but it doesn't register, which is really fun. And so it's kind of like there's a double meaning. Like they hear something totally different. And even the little Bitcoin references, they don't catch them. So it's almost like if you know, for a whole 10 songs. And then, I'm a proficient MC, so I rap well. I rap well. And I haven't put out, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. I haven't put out music since 2015.
Wow.
So this is the first release, and it's not going to, so I'm on fucking Facebook fighting all my artist friends.
Facebook?
Yeah, I know. Where else do you argue with those people at? They don't live here. I got to go to their neighborhood. So like,
true.
Talk to my aunt, I got to go to her house. And they're like, why aren't you putting it on Spotify or iTunes? Because that's what you guys do. And the last thing I'll say about it is the reason it's called Dust. You guys know what Dust is because you're you guys. Y'all taught me what Dust is. But just for the benefit of those listening, if you have 85 cents in Bitcoin and you buy a widget or a plumbus or some shit, and there's 10-cent transaction fee, you have 5 cents left. Well, 5 cents can't do anything. The 10-cent transaction fee, you can't move it, can't send it. It's stuck there. In Bitcoin, they call that dust. In the regular Web 2 rap world, I'm dust. I'm a thing of value, but they don't have a use for me. My music, sell a Toyota Tacoma. So the best I can ever hope for is maybe I open for R.A. the Rugged Man in Prague, or I can open for Onyx in Germany. But other than that, you're just trying to sell some vinyls and you stay out of their way, and they'll just ignore you and they'll treat you in your dust. But in the Bitcoin world, in the crypto art world, they know how to extract dust. So I get to be a thing of value again. And that's why the album is called Dust. I didn't plan on putting out music anymore. I was done. If it wasn't for the crypto art, I would never make music. Or I would make it, but I wouldn't share it. So I get to share my music again because of the space. So I know what side of my bread got butter on it. So they don't get the fucking album. Y'all do. I'm gonna print up. I'll press maybe 100 or so vinyls. Top 10 collectors get a vinyl for free. I don't care where you live. I'll send it to you. And for everybody else, the rest of the vinyls will just be on sale on Scarce or something like that. But I'm just happy that I got a thing that people in the community like.
Congrats, man. I know it's a lot of work. So here, you heard that here first. You heard the explanation. On the 12th, it will be available. One final question each for Sasha and Darky, and then we'll head out of here. Darky, where favorite or any Pepe artist collection that you draw any inspiration from, or just would like to note?
It's going to kill me for saying it. My inspiration, I think, for many people, for me, I think the absolute pinnacle of Pepe art is Mr. Hansel himself. His work is just genius. I was very lucky to win 3 Colours Cake at Amsterdam Bitcoin last year. I'm sat looking at it now, and yeah, it's just a cool dude, and his artwork's it's phenomenal. It's just amazing. Yeah, so Hansel, for me, is the out and out. Followed for me, some of the artists is Normanomics, absolutely cool as cool gets. Obviously, Vandal, without question, inspirational to us all. Skrilla. Again, there's so many in this. It's like Jamie said, you could just sit here and going on and on. Sasha as well. Sasha's coming this last, about 12 months, 16 months, and she just takes it by storm. Her artwork's fun, it's on point, and she drops a load as well. So Sasha, I'll pass it over to you, mate. Before I go, though, I just want to say thanks to everyone as well. I'm probably going to have to fly off in the next 5 minutes and do the Rainbows run. Appreciate you having me. And next time I'm back, I'll probably be a bit more relaxed. I'm like Kim, a little bit nervous today. A little bit nervous.
Hey, that's what we're here. That's why we're here, Darky. We're here. We want to share the story of all Pepe artists that want to go on stage. No matter how large your audience is, how small, we all contribute to the ecosystem in some capacity. So, Sasha, as the final person on this list, any Pepe artists that you draw inspiration from, or any Pepe art that you would like to note?
If it's collection, for me, it's rare Pepes for sure. Like it's OG, and especially Pepe card, which was sold. I saw the Pepe what the fuck bought. Yeah, and if it's artist, for sure it's Pepe Angela, because her story really inspired me, because she's from Russia too, and she's female artist. And we have a lot of income, and it very inspired me for my art.
Amazing. Yeah, the Pepe card just sold, I think, for like 1.7 ETH or something, I think yesterday. So perfectly on time. And Pepe Angelo, of course, doing all of the IRL Pepe art. If everyone was at Pepe Fest, you saw the artwork she puts out there. So again, everybody, appreciate you for coming on. If you don't know, we host this show Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Yesterday, we had a great show with J-Dog and everyone from the Counterparty community. Of course, thank everyone today. RobotCoffeeLove, Coffee, Darky Inc., Sasha, everyone who came on stage or listened. You are all appreciated. Tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, we are featuring one of the co-founders of Super Rare, the first art NFT platform on Ethereum. So we should be having some fun. He's actually going to join us on the live stream. So we're going to dive everything into Super Rare. Apparently, they said that they have a few announcements and things they would like to share on what they've been working on over the last year during the bear market. So that should be a good episode. Make sure you follow everyone on stage, and we will see you guys either tomorrow or next Wednesday for the next Pepe show. Until then, man, enjoy the rest of your day.